Bon dia. Good morning again. Well, the bike is nearly done. I've changed those orange crash bars out for black ones, put it all back together. I think it looks a bit meaner now. I might go back to the smaller screen. We'll find out after today. And good news, finally KTM got the wire wheels. And I've gone with the Mitas ET07 Plus Enduro Trail. And let's see how they hold up. For some reason they couldn't get hold of the Trail Max Mission that we ordered 4 months ago. Kind of wanted a decent 50/50 that would last quite a while on the road. But that wasn't to be. Looking at it again, I probably should have tried the Moto's Tractionator. But yeah, a bit late for that now. Got the tyres ordered, they're on the way. March 3rd I'll be in Lisbon to get the wheels changed over to the spoked wheels, the Moto Flame Master discs, and some pads to go with it too. So let's see. But today we are just taking a little run through what looks like Hobbiton. Trying to get the microphone, trying these cameras again, trying to keep the wind noise out, trying not to blow the microphone out by speaking too loudly. I'll tell you something, maybe I'm getting old. I used to love this stuff, but the idea of having so many moving parts to try and get right between the cameras and the microphone, the right microphone, and then the settings, and then the post-production, yeah, you really got to want to record a diary. But we'll get there eventually. I've switched this microphone over to the Purple Panda, which everyone seems to rave about, and I've put the foam on it, I've put the windsock, the Dead Cat on it, then I've put a bit of tape over that on the inside of my lid, because the last videos recorded I couldn't use because even though the wind had been taken out, apparently it was too close to my mouth or something, or I was screaming, but I kept blowing out the input, which was a bit of a pain. Oh, to your side, dude. Why are you on my side of the road? Honestly, I think I might have mentioned that in a previous video, but these guys will just come around the corner on your side of the road, so you have to give way. The graveyards are full of dead people that had the right of way, so you've just got to give it up. Like on these corners here, you've really got to be careful, because they will literally come right across on your side, so you've got to be ready for it. That and all this gravel that sits everywhere as well. So last week I was actually out for a bit of a run, and I came up into the hills here, those magical hills, if you can see them, and I found a couple of good roads that I'd never been on before. I was using the Zumo XT to get me from one point to another and find some twisties, and so I'd found some twisties that I'd never been on before. And as it happens, you can see how wiggly that road is on the XT in front of us there. As it happens, one of the roads like this one up into a village was closed because there was a wedding going on, so I decided the best thing to do is just kind of close up the main road, don't let any traffic through. So I ended up riding dirt roads for a bit to get back on track to where I want to be. And that was all well and good, but I've kind of realised that I've got an innate fear of dirt roads at the moment. I haven't really ridden many since that crash that I had, which is going on 4 years now, so like it's quite some time. But I just have this, I don't know, I can feel myself tensing up, which I know is not doing the bike any good. So I reckon after these wire wheels turn up and I get these kind of 50/50 tyres on, I might have a bit more confidence. And I think that's what it comes down to. Like most things with motorbikes, it comes down to confidence and letting the bike do what it wants to do. Because if you're getting in the way, being all tense and being kind of sharp with your inputs and, you know, steering and throttle and brake and stuff, you're going to come a cropper. You're going to fall in your arse. And I know dropping the bike is kind of part and parcel of riding off-road, but I kind of feel like I want to get some easy stuff done and just enjoy it for a bit, rather than just being a kind of tense mess the whole time, because where's the enjoyment of that? I'm going to stick this. And these are holes out of the road where someone's tried to put gravel in. It's beauty. This is one of the roads I came down last week. You just come across these beautiful little valleys, and then you see the road kind of snaking away, and here comes the sun at the right moment. So there is nothing quite like finding some of these new roads out here, and you can turn off anywhere you want in any of these hills and just go cross country, which I think is one of the things that appealed to me about Portugal before I got here. And it's one of the things that kind of continues to appeal to me, you know, that I have been here for about 6 years or so. But, you know, how could you not be captivated by the spirit of adventure? Getting out on your bike, taking in the twisties, heading off cross country, bringing the Jetboil with you, getting a coffee on, having a cold drink stuck in the depths of your bag somewhere with a little cooler sleeve on it. But you can traverse the whole country, and you can navigate north to south off-road too, which actually kind of brings me to one of the future videos I'll be recording. So myself and my mate Anton, who owns Algarve Trail Riding Tours in Algesur, if you ever want to experience off-road with a bike to rent and insurance and all the kit and some expert tuition and support, then Anton's place is the place to go. That's Algarve Trail Riding Tours. So he gave me my first taste of off-road in Portugal. I think I had a 250 I was riding with him, and it was like the perfect bike. I mean, it really is the perfect bike. I should have bought a 250 is what I should have done. But we had a really good run out, and so he and I became friends, and we ended up scouting some new tracks and routes. So we spent a few days off-road running up the west coast of Portugal, and it was fantastic. You see everything from kind of mountains and rivers and sea and valleys and high valleys, and like you wouldn't believe. And you don't see people for days, kind of thing. But if you want a bit of adventure, give Anton a shout. He'll bring you out on a tour. But Anton and I are going to ride the ACT Portugal. And if I'll remember, I'll put a link here somewhere to the Touratech video of that ACT Portugal. So they've got a couple of different routes on there, and they've got one for big ADVs, so I think that's the one that we're going to take. Anton's then going to ride the Tet back down, so our intention is to go from Castelo Velho in the Algarve, ride all the way up the ACT, right across to Jerez National Park, which is stunning. If you've never seen it, have a quick look. He's going to ride down the Tet, and I'm going to ride back down through Serra da Estrela. I'm going to take a few loops and turns through Serra da Estrela, because that is stunning. It's the highest point in Portugal. They've actually got a ski resort up there, believe it or not. They've got a ski lift, which myself and my son have been on in summer, and it looks alpine. I mean, even the buildings, right? It looks like you are in Switzerland, Australia, Switzerland or Austria somewhere. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be another just get out and blow the cobwebs out kind of ride. Just look at these roads. I love coming around these bends and just seeing these roads open up. quick shift will get you into trouble. So I've also had the first service done on the bike, and I can now get it past kind of 5,000–6,000 revs. It's the off-road boys out on a trip. So the other thing that they'll do here are what they call paseos. It's like a passage basically. So yeah, they'll take adventure bikes and dirt bikes and 4x4 trucks. They'll plan out a route, they'll give everybody the GPS, and then you gotta head off kind of solo, or head off with a group of people, and go enjoy yourselves off-road for a few hours or a few days. So there's another off-road route a bit like that called the N2 off-road, which is coming up in April. So I'm hoping we're gonna pick that one up. It could be quite good fun. So the guy I sold my last bike to, Miro, and if you're watching this, I think we're going to try and do that N2 off-road with a couple of guys. So let's see if we can make that happen as well. That'd be good fun. But I'm all for riding a few more off-road tracks, getting a bit of confidence back. That's why I'm out quite often on this bike now, to just try and get some miles on it really. I had the first service was done Wednesday, it's now Saturday as I'm talking to you. I've changed these the bars on the screen obviously, and I just want to get out and give it a bit of a run, make sure nothing kind of rattles loose. Then I'll get the tyres and wheels on, new brakes, I'll bed those in, and then hopefully I should be ready for a bit of off-road too. But I've got 1,500 kilometers on the bike now, and I have to say I quite like it. So the power delivery from these engines in this chassis is second to none. I rode the GS and I rode the K1600 GT. I was genuinely thinking of switching to a 1600 GT. I rode one back in, say, kind of 2012-ish, before I switched over to adventure bikes. I bought the Triumph 1200 at that time, which was brand new. And I loved the 1600 GT back then, and I kind of said, you know, at some point in the future. And I thought, well, what better time than when I've smashed my leg and I've kind of done with off-road a little bit. But I rode it, I just couldn't get on with it. I actually felt it really cramped, especially after the 2015 version of the 1290 Super Adventure. It's actually a big bulky bike, you know, you've got leg room on the Super Adventure. Didn't so much on the 1600 GT. I found my hips were actually locking up and hurting me. And that was after like an hour and a half. Someone had said you'll get used to it and it's muscle memory and everything will be okay, but just no, I just didn't fancy it this road too. Yeah, I just didn't like it. So I said, well, I haven't been disappointed with the 1290 so far, why don't I just pick one up? And I did without even riding it, and I'm so glad I did. So glad I did. But the riding position took a bit getting used to. So I got the higher seat, put it in the lower position, put the bar risers with the dampers on, the KTM ones, which are really good. They seem to be really good. And now I think I've kind of dialed in this position where I want to be. I'll put grippy pads on the tank as well, just to get your knees locked in, because the other thing I didn't like about it is the big kind of slabby sides on the tank are really slippery, so you can't really get locked into the bike when you're kind of chasing apexes on the road. And also helpful when you're standing up and you kind of want to lock your knees into the bike. But just what a set of roads these are. Power. God. Just as soon as you roll on, it just wants to take off. But it does it really predictably as well, you know, just the way it just wants to fly. The torque is ludicrous. So I think I've kind of gotten used to all the quirks. The only other thing that I'll say I don't like it, but I think it's just because I haven't gotten used to it yet, is the quick shifter. And that's because you've got to have a really kind of solid input, the quick shifter. Because if you kind of half push the pedal, you'll get the blip of power, but you don't get the gear down. And I'm ultimately thinking, like, coming into a corner here, I'll kind of want to gear down a little bit. But if I'm not positive, I'll get the kind of the blip that goes up and you kind of unsettle the bike, right? And it's just not ideal. Ooh, this looks like an interesting little road. Well, it actually wants me to go back for some reason. But you know what? Let's go and have a look and see what's in there. But yeah, so you're settling in, you get your position right, you're getting your steering input right, you know how you're gonna get around that corner. You tap the gear down and all of a sudden you get the bike lurches forward. You kind of get thrown off your line. Your meter's ahead on the road. You know, your steering input's gonna have to change, your position on the bike is probably gonna have to change, your speed is gonna have to change. And then if you get something else kind of jumping out on the road in front of you, you're screwed, basically. So, I think, rather than saying I don't like the quick shifter, I think what I have to say is I don't like my usage of the quick shifter. I've got to learn how to use it better. In a straight line, when you're kind of gassing it on and you're kicking up the gears, it's beautiful and smooth, really smooth. It's really nice. But I'm just not that keen on using it kind of for kind of fast road riding when I'm sort of trying to get down into the corners. Anyway, that's enough of me rabbiting at you for now. Just look at these hills and roads. Wow. Truly grateful. But you all have a good one. Keep it rubber side down. I'll see you soon. Ciao.